Geico presents sharing versus oversharing. Earlier this week, Claire Tippins shared a princess nickname generator, 3 pictures of her dog wearing a tutu, and 2 online quizzes, including, what candy is your dream castle made of? Claire, your sharing has tipped the sugar scale and turned into oversharing. But have no fear, princess. Geico has something worth sharing with your internet kingdom, like how you could save hundreds on your car insurance just by visiting geico.com. No magic wand required. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show, covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
Yeah, you know what time it is. I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. The 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. For all the latest going on here. Oh, hold on. Let's check out the blog site, www.110nationsports.com. For all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Glad to be here on Tuesday night, the number one night. And tonight's a really good reason why Tuesday night ends up being our best night here on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. We've got a whole plethora of people jumping in the studio tonight. We might even have some surprise. Well, I'm not going to say surprise. But we do have another person that's not on the show description. He might find his way on the show at some point tonight as well. But in the studio with me already to get things kicked off, we got Shorty in the studio. How you doing tonight, Shorty?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here on this Tuesday night. Like I said, the number one night here on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. Good reason why. We got ARCA Series and Super Truck driver Sheldon Creed. And X-Game gold medalist on top of it. As I read a little bit more into our first guest, we'll be stopping in the studio at 9:30. Looking forward to the opportunity of having him on the show for the first time. Tonight's one of those nights, and this is the perfect night that I love having on the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. We got my co-host, Shorty, in the studio. We got Sheldon Creed, a new guest. We get to learn about him, get to know him, and get to see what his plans are. Then at 10 o'clock, we got a returning guest. Can't remember if he's been on here this year. We know we had him last year. We got Noah Gragson joining us, K&N Pro Series driver. And I think he is involved with some other as well, if I'm not mistaken, and other series, like I said, if I'm not mistaken. So we got our co-hosts, we got our new guests, we got our returning guests, and then to wrap things up, we got our very own NHL expert, Izzo, joining us to get us caught up on the Stanley Cup playoff. So very, very excited about tonight's show. Very excited about everybody that's going to be jumping into the studio. Mike's listening in. We might have him pop his head in here in the studio at some point in the time tonight. You never know. So very, very good night tonight. Much better than last night. Not that there was anything wrong with the guess, but that Cleveland Cavalier loss last night kind of ruined things for me last night.
Yeah. They seem to be ruining things for a lot of people.
You know, it's hard not to get down because it's a 2-2 series, but how hard do I really want to get down? It is a 2-2 series. It's not like it's not like it's Golden State and they're down 2-1 and playing Game 4 here tonight at OKC, and looking like things are really starting to fall apart for Golden State. So I don't want to get my head too far down because, like I said, it's only a 2-2 series. Go back to Cleveland, get an opportunity to go up 3, and last night was really a simple fix. All those dang-on three-pointers. There was no reason that you were 3 for 22 at the half, 14%. At some point at the end of the first quarter or halfway through the first quarter, when you realized you were not hitting three-pointers, you should have stopped. Yes, granted, the second half they got a little bit better and they got a little bit hotter with the three-pointer, but you should have put a cease to it there for a while, partway through that first quarter and in the second quarter, and came out in the second quarter to see what's up. My whole issue with it is I understand that the Cleveland Cavaliers lived by the three-pointer in the first 2 series and killed it 40-50% with these games. But Game 1 and Game 2, there was not a lot of three-pointers, and Cleveland still dominated and won it with the combined won by a combined of 50 points over the Toronto Raptors. So there was no reason that you come out in Game 3 or even Game 4 and try to do it by the three-point ball, because that's not what you did in Game 1 and Game 2. They showed in Game 1, Game 2 that they can play without having to depend on the three-pointer, and they should continue to stick to the game plan instead of try to change things up, especially Game 4. And obviously it did not pay off. As Cleveland did come back, and when it was like 2 minutes left, it was 99-96. They came back from that 16-point halftime deficit, but honestly, it was just a little too much. They had dug themselves a little bit too much of a hole in order to come back, and now Cleveland's sitting. It was a 2-2 series, and we're going to be looking to see what happens in Game 5 back at the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland.
I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing with themselves.
Golden State, OKC are just slightly into their game right now. About 9 minutes left in the first. Golden State is up 6-4. Golden State is over 2 downtown themselves today. OKC only 1 from 5 from the field, so obviously they gotta get things turned around if they're going to. They got to turn things around from the field. They're now 1 for 7. If they're going to keep up with Golden State, but it'll be an interesting game. I can imagine how the tempers are going to be, especially with Draymond Green not getting a suspension for kicking Steven Adams to the groin, only catching the $25,000 fine. This game right here, to me, kind of makes or breaks the series. If OKC can win this and go up 3-1, the next game back at the Oracle really means nothing, because now OKC just got to win that final Game 4 for themselves, win the 4th game back at home at OKC, and wrap the series up. So this game is very critical for OKC. This one, for either one, Golden State to have an opportunity to win it. If Golden State can pull this out in OKC, they got 2 of the next 3 games at home. I think it's Golden State series. If OKC can pull this out and go up 3-1, I find it very, very, very difficult, almost impossible. I'm not gonna say it's going to be impossible, but almost impossible for Golden State to pull this out and end up taking the series with 2 out of, or with doesn't have to win in all 3, with one of them being back in OKC.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that that's dumb. My game, I have to buy gold to advance past a certain level. So, but I'm kind of hoping that Golden State chokes. And
I have mixed feelings with that, because I want us to redeem ourselves, and when I say us, the Cleveland Cavaliers, redeem ourselves and be able to beat Golden State in the finals. And he said, you know what? A full staff, a healthy Cleveland Cavaliers team was better than the Golden State Warriors. You got one over us last year because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love went down. But the other side of me, wants to say, you know what? I don't want to take the chance of Golden State beating us in the finals again, and I would rather play OKC, who I think we have a better shot against.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now. I just want Golden State to show to the world that they're not everything that everybody holds them. It just annoys me that everybody thinks so highly of Golden State.
And it's funny because if they lose this, then everything I had been preaching for about the last month or so of the season, when Golden State had like 20 games left, all plays out the way exactly how I said it would play out, or caution Golden State how it was going to play out. When I saw their schedule and they had to win like 17 or 20 or something ridiculous, and even though they pulled it off, I didn't like their odds. I also knew that required them to be all in, where Cleveland was resting and OKC was able to rest, and these other teams were resting. Golden State was all in. Their starters were playing full minutes and had to put the full effort into it. And now, that 73-9 record, and I agree, and it's very rare that I agree with Stephen A. Smith, but that 73-9 record means absolutely, positively nothing at this point if Golden State cannot pull off a championship. That 72-10 Chicago, 95-96 Chicago Bulls team will still be the greatest team ever if Golden State cannot win a championship. That is the deciding factor on who is the greatest. It don't matter if Golden State wins 73-9, Chicago wins 72-10 in the regular season. If you cannot finalize and you cannot bring home the trophy, it doesn't really matter what your record was in the regular season. Your season is judged by whether or not you were the champs or not.
Yep. Yes. And they will not be closing it up like they hope they will. It's either OKC is gonna shut them down or Cleveland will.
I just think it's interesting because we're on the verge of watching Golden State be eliminated, a team that everybody thought was a pistol. I mean, the chart up 24-0, 26-0, something like that. Put up the best regular season record. Steph Curry crushed his own three-point record by hitting over 400 three-pointers. And here we are in Game 4, and OKC has a very good possibility of going up 3-1 tonight.
Wait a minute, they can be eliminated tonight?
No, OKC can go up 3-1, and 4 games wins the series. So that leaves OKC only having to win one more game the rest of the series, which, like I said, I think that the next game, if OKC wins tonight, the next game goes back to Golden State. I think that's going to be a give-me game. Golden State's going to win. I don't think OKC's really going to care about that. Yeah, I guess they're going to love to win that game, but it's back to the Oracle. Golden State's going to be out to prove a point. I don't think that they're really going to care as much as probably they should. I think that they're going to be more focused on that Game 6, knowing that at that point they're going to be up 3-2 in the series, and all they got to do is close it out at home. You're going to have your crowd behind you. You're going to have the momentum. Even though you're coming off a loss, mentally, okay, yeah, they won that game, but we didn't really care. I mean, yes, we cared, but we were more of getting ourselves mentally and physically prepared to go ahead and come back here and wrap things up at home.
Yep.
Other things in the news, Johnny Manziel's friends tell TMZ they are worried he's going to die. The Johnny Manziel story has played out in so many weird ways that was even before his friends went to TMZ to express their worry about him dying. Manziel is seeing his downward spiral play out on TMZ from reports him showing up at various parties, being the passenger in a single-car accident, and getting kicked out of a club in Vegas. So maybe the natural order of progression is having a pseudo intervention on that site. He's in a horrible downward spiral, is how one anonymous source described Manziel to TNT. Another source told the site, if he continues this way for much longer, he will die. That's not the first time he has been said publicly in the that's not the first time that has been said publicly in the media. Manziel's father said earlier this year that he was worried his son could die soon. From the sounds of the TMZ story, his friends have tried to confront him about the partying ways, but are pushed away. One group talked to him about the situation, and he flipped out, TMZ said. Now Manziel friends are hoping TMZ stories will serve as a wake-up call, the Post said. This is exactly the product and prime example of a kid that, one, never grew up, a kid that had everything handed to him, a kid that thought he was bigger than the system, programs such as Texas A&M and the SEC, which they're notorious for kind of covering up stuff and letting them get away with things that they shouldn't get away with. And it's a product of allowing someone to be drafted in an NFL team such as the Cleveland Browns, drafting a player that they knew mentally was not ready to do this, that had his issues, was a person that thought he was above and beyond the rules. And I point fingers at everybody. I point fingers at his parents. I point fingers at himself. I point fingers at the NCAA. I point fingers at the NFL, Texas A&M and their coaching staff, Cleveland and their coaching staff. And at some point, somebody should have pulled him to the side and like, look, either fix your problem now or this is it, you're done. Instead of trying to pamper him all the way through to where now it's beyond out of control, and people have legitimate concerns whether or not he's going to die or not.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a problem that just started. This is not something that out of the blue all of a sudden. No, this is something that I guarantee. I know it at least happened from the college days. I can almost guarantee you that it happened in the high school days, and nobody thought it was important enough. They thought, okay, we got this quarterback that we got this kid that has some talent. Which I was never impressed with Johnny Manziel anyway, but obviously these coaches in Texas A&M obviously were, and instead of putting his well-being in front of their needs and their wants, they allowed this to continue. They allowed, knowing Texas A&M and the SEC and the NCAA, knowing that he was violating different rules in different things, and yet just kind of turn a blind eye to it and allowed him to do what he wanted to do and didn't try to fix the problem. And I know that Johnny Manziel is an adult, and he kind of makes his own decisions, and he is his own person. But when you have all these different people, especially adults, like he was still a kid in high school, essentially a kid in college, and is obviously not mature enough yet. And even going to the NFL, when you have these adults that are supposed to be your peers, well, not your peers, but those that help mold you and teach you and guide you and mentor you, and they're not doing their job as well, I just, the whole system from college or high school on up, they failed Johnny Manziel. And, I'm not going to take, I'm not trying to take any blame or, well, this is not Johnny Manziel. No, it's Johnny Manziel's fault. He makes all the decisions. He did what he does. I just also believe that the system has, the system failed him, and didn't set
system did
him
not
up.
fail him.
The system failed him.
No, he failed him.
There
are plenty of people out there that went down the exact same path that turned out to be just fine. He failed him. The system did not fail him.
At some point, when Johnny Manziel was going to parties and breaking the rules while he was in college football, someone in the NCAA, someone at Texas A&M, somebody somewhere should have pulled him to the side or made him, get his act straight or put him on the bench. Instead, Texas A&M was more focused on trying to put a winning program out there and win a national title and everything else, instead of doing what they should have done, and it helped him and got him so he wasn't going to parties and getting drunk all the time. That's what he's still doing. Someone should have put him to the side when he was breaking the rules and let him know, look, you're not above the rules. There's a lot of things that could have been done. I'm not saying that it would have been successful, but they didn't even attempt. They didn't try to guide him into the right direction or prevent him to go down the path that he's going down right now.
Yeah, but, all the path that he's going down right now is the path that he chose. Yes, somebody should have stepped in and said, hey, you need to, slow down, calm down. But that doesn't mean it's their fault. The system failed him. He failed him. It's pretty much saying, oh, well, my friend gave me, this drug to try, but, I didn't have to pay for it. But, now I'm addicted to it. It's not my fault.
Now,
I'm not saying
I said they failed him. I didn't say that it was their fault. What he does is his own decision, and it's his fault. But say you have a friend that you see starting to get addicted to a drug that is very addicted, and you do not try to talk to them and let them know your concerns and try to help them not become addicted to a problem. Heroin is a really big problem, especially on Fort Bragg. And we don't know, as far as I know, you don't know anybody, but as far as I know, neither one of us know anyone that's got that problem. But say we knew someone that, all of a sudden, just had someone, just say our neighbor for a prime example. We got this guy that lives across the street, come over 4 or 5 times, hung out, and we don't know his personal life. But just say he came over and, we found out that he was on heroin. It's not really a good example. He's not really a good friend of ours. He's just our neighbor. But just say we have a good friend that came over kind of regular, and all of a sudden we find out that they're shooting up, or just, I went to this party and I tried this for the first time, knowing how addictive it is. Would we not be failing him as a friend if we did not try to, hey, look, doing heroin or doing crack or doing coke or whatever, that's not, something you really want to get, involved with. These are all the things that possibly could happen, and I don't know, I just feel that, you know me personally. You know that I've had this conversation more than one time in your presence with people about, the addiction of drugs and alcohol and everything else. And regardless if they quit or not, that's their business, and that's for them to worry. To me, as a friend, that is my, at least, responsibility as a friend to not fail them and at least show my concerns and try to point them into the right direction, or at least let them know that, look, this is what happens. If you keep doing what you're doing, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but all you're doing is talking to them. And who says that Johnny Manziel's former coaches didn't have this talk with him? He just didn't listen. Yes, there could have been, consequences for his actions, and that they should have been taken, but pretty much what you're saying
we both know
to say something.
We both know the way the social media and the internet works, and if there would have been any kind of conversation about his alcohol or drug use, I don't know if he's drugs, but alcohol at least, we know that would have went public. Just like we know that him signing the autograph, doing autograph signings for money, which is against the rules in NCAA, knowing he did it, and knowing it was covered up, and of course the NCAA is one of those well, we're not going to hurt the SEC because that's our money right now. Instead of doing a full-blown investigation, because anybody else, I mean, hell, Reggie Bush had his Heisman Trophy taken away from him, Terrell Pryor at Ohio State, all that stuff, and that was just him selling off his personal stuff that he just wasn't allowed to sell off because he'd earned his claim for Ohio State or whatever the case was. We know that the NCAA, when it comes to other conferences, they'll dig deep. Now, they don't want to mess with their money. They don't want to mess with the SEC, and nor does ESPN want to get too deep in that with their TV contracts and the money that they get, that is involved with the SEC. They got both those wrapped around their finger. And so when we saw the fact that he was breaking the rules and nothing was done and it was kind of, whatever. We know that Johnny Manziel, and especially those in the SEC, was kind of untouchable. We're just going to let it continue to happen kind of scenario. Like I said, though, we know the way the social media works. Anything that happens in the sporting world, if it happens, it's out there on social media or the internet, whatever. So there's no doubt in my mind that if we know everything that's going on with Johnny Manziel right now, we knew everything that was going on in college and the rules he was breaking. There's no doubt in my mind if he was sat down, that somebody on his team would have said something, or the coaching staff or somebody part of that organization would have said something. And being how it's been hush-hush and there's nothing ever come out, I highly doubt that the Texas A&M coaching staff, the university, or anything that has to do with that facility did their job and tried to guide him in the right direction. And that's where I feel the system failed him. Like I said, I'm not trying to throw the blame on anybody else because ultimately when it comes down to it, Johnny Manziel makes his own decision. He decides to put up his nose wherever he puts up his nose. He decides to drink whatever he wants to drink. He decides to smoke whatever he wants to smoke. If he wants to break the rules, then that's him. That's why he doesn't have a job in the NFL no more. But at the same time, there's a system there for a reason. These are young kids that are starstruck, that think that they're larger than life, think that they're going to make all these millions of dollars, and reality starts to get away from them, and they start to get into this larger-than-life fantasy world. And that's what these systems are there for, is to bring them back down to reality, get them to stay on the right path, to have a long, successful, full career. And that's where I feel the system is failed.
Okay. Well, I mean, yes. All right. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I still feel like it's mostly, his fault. I understand that you're not saying that it's not his fault.
It's 100% his fault. And when it's all said and done, he's making these choices, and he's doing it, and he killed his career. Nobody wants to deal with him. No team wants to sign him. He's done lost all his endorsement deals. Like, nobody wants to do any kind of business with him, and that's all he's doing. I just feel that the system failed him, and that's what the system was there for, because these are kids. Ultimately, I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20 years old. I have bounced in Chapel Hill right there with UNC for many, many years. I don't care if they're 18. I don't care if they're 22, 24 years old. Ultimately, in that setting, they're still in a kid's mentality, especially until they get to be about 21, 22 years old. They're still in a high school mentality out there. And when you have, an athlete who has been worshipped and larger than life all the way through his whole life, like Manziel was, these programs are set up to kind of bring them back to reality, because if not, they're going to continue to lead the same lifestyle that they did in high school. We're not in high school no more. And even though it's just college, it's time to start growing up. And like I said, I agree with you 100%, and I'm not saying that there's anybody else to blame, because when it comes down to it, if I'm sitting here and I got a needle full of heroin, and you plead your case with me, and my mother calls and pleads her case with me, my children call me and plead their case with me, when it comes down to it, it's my decision whether or not I'm going to shoot myself with heroin or not. And I ultimately make my decision. And that's how I feel about Johnny Manziel. But I feel that the program failed him, where they did not, at some point when they saw what he was doing and the parties he was going to, And Mike said the same thing. The only thing he remembered in college was the jerseys. Well, I know he was going to parties, too, and we saw videos with him going to the parties. As a matter of fact, I think he went to one of the other team's parties and crashed that party as well, if I remember correctly. When those things were starting to get out of hand, they should have benched him and made him have a reality check and start to talk to him and really do him justice, and I feel that they did.
Agreed. But it is 9:30 and I have to go.
Gotcha. I will talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Well, that was the first. 30 minutes go by so quick, and I have a feeling we're about to experience the same thing here in about 3.5 seconds when you're going to get our next guest on the show here, as we got Sheldon Creed joining us, and the more and more I looked at his resume, and the more and more information that I came across, the more and more that I have to be impressed with what he's accomplished, and this is one of those athletes that looks like the sky is the limit, and one of those athletes that looks like the system did not fail him. Not that he's ever had an issue, but I'm just saying, just talking about systems failing athletes out there. It looks like, obviously, with the success he has in the show, the head on his shoulders, obviously the system has definitely done well for him, and looking forward to having him on the show. We're going to get him on just one second. I'm going to make sure that I thank Fit for Life. Make sure you guys check them out. That is where Shorty and I go to the gym. 24/7, 365. There is not a day that we cannot go and use our gym. There might not be somebody at the desk 24/7, 365, but we have 24/7, 365 accessibility to our gym. Great prices, multiple locations. Make sure you check them out on Facebook, Fit for Life. Also check them out at www.fit4life as well. Also got to thank Snafu Season, and I know talking about being in high school mentality. Every time I do Snafu Season, it's always high school mentality. There's just certain things out there. I don't care how old you get. You find it amusing. Yes, you probably shouldn't when you get to be my age, and I don't care, 38 years old. But there's just certain things that you see that I would still laugh. I would laugh about while I'm in high school, and I still laugh about. They're just stupid things. I'm not going to go into examples right now. Snafu Season is one of them. You can check them out at snafuseason.com. That's SNAFU. Yeah, that's the part that I still chuckle at. I got to always pause right there and do the FU, but SNAFUseason.com. Make sure you check them out. No preservatives, all natural ingredients. You can order your bottle online. It's like $6.99. Make sure you guys check them out. Also, if you guys just call in on Thursday night with Racing with Big Sweat, which if that is not enough of a reason, if you don't know who Steve Billmeyer is, you're missing an opportunity to sit with a legend. This man, crew chief Tim Richmond, Chef Bodine, put Jimmy Johnson in his first stock car, fourth employee over at Hendrick Motorsport, was a great big influence at Days of Thunder. I mean, I could go on for days on why you should be listening to Thursday night show outside of all the great guests he has on the show. But I got to thank Snafu Season. Oh, I keep turning around. I keep looking for something. I don't know what I'm looking for. I guess it'll finally click. But make sure you guys show your support, Snafu Season, and check them out at snafuseason.com. Sure. Without any further delay, let's get our first guest on into the studio. Like I said, tonight is what I call the perfect show. I had my co-host show up. I have a first-time guest. I have a returning guest, and I have my NHL expert all in one show. Even more specifically, I just love having a show that I have a first-time guest and a returning guest. I get to introduce our listeners to a new athlete and the athlete to our show, and then I get to follow that up with someone that has been on the show before that comes back to show their support of the 110 Nation at the same time. Let our listeners get an update on what's going on in their career. I tell you what, I think we're almost like perfect with getting guests to return. Hopefully Sheldon will be another one of those that we'll get back on the show later in the season. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and get him in there. Sheldon, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
I am doing great. Loving the opportunity to meet you and get to know a little bit about you, where you came from, the path to get where you're at, and how 2016 season is going. But before we jump into that, I'd like to give you the opportunity, like I do with everybody, to either plug social media, it could be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you happen to use or your preference. Team site, personal site, sponsors, anything you want to throw out there. That way the listeners and the fans out there get to know you on a career, a personal and a professional level, and be able to keep up with you in 2016 and moving forward.
I got my Instagram. It's just Sheldon Creed, no spaces, nothing. And then Facebook, same thing. And then I have a Twitter too. I don't really stay on top of it too much, which I should, but that's the same thing, just Sheldon Creed. I don't know, everything like that. And then I got a website too, but I don't know, it's just a lot of off-road stuff, not much of the stuff we're doing today with ARCA stuff.
I don't know what it is about Twitter. I don't know. I guess there's so much going on Twitter. I think everybody has a Twitter account but hardly keeps up with it. And I'm the same way. I don't know, just because you turn around and all of a sudden there's like 1,000 new tweets and you're supposed to kind of sift through it, find things. I don't know. It's so much easier to keep up with Instagram and Facebook and all this other stuff versus Twitter. As great as Twitter is, at times it goes so quick for me. I don't know. Let's kind of backtrack and get to know you from the beginning. At what age did you get into racing, and what did you get into at first?
At age 3, I started racing BMX bikes just at our local BMX track, and then I always loved motorcycles and stuff, so I started racing those. Did like the KTM Junior Challenge and Supercross and all that, and got second in that, won a couple of championships in dirt bikes, and then my mom wanted me doing something safer, so I raced quarter midgets a little bit, and wasn't really into it. I still liked the dirt bikes a lot, and trophy carts came out. I was around age 9 and 10, and a trophy cart is just pretty much a miniature stadium super truck just for the younger age groups, and did that till I was 14, 15, and then jumped into stadium super trucks, and also raced Pro Light and Pro 2 and Lucas Oil off-road, and then now we're here in racing ARCA series with Lear Motorsports, and then just seeing where we can take things.
You know, it really does blow my mind when I hear you guys start at 3, 4, 5 years old, and I tell people all the time, I got an 18-year-old daughter who's AP honor roll student, already got a semester of college knocked out, still in high school. Like, we couldn't even ground her because it was all she wanted to do was read books and do educational stuff, and I wasn't going to ground her from her book. And then I have a 9-year-old that is pretty smart, not quite as smart as her, and he's got his own thing going on. And then I have a 4 and a 5-year-old children that I'm help raising, and the 4 and 5-year-old, I can't allow to run from one end of the house to the other because they'll trip over their own 2 feet. And then the other 2 children, they have a tendency of running into walls. And so to hear that at 4, 5, 9, and 18, I don't want any of them to do anything like this. Here you are, 3 years old, racing on dirt bikes and in the BMX anyway. It just blows my mind. And I hear this all the time. Got in go-karts at 4 or 5 years old, got into this at 6 years old. I'm just like, I couldn't imagine any of my kids doing this because I don't have the confidence in them making it from one end of the house to the other. So that always impresses me. And plus, I didn't know, for the longest time until we started doing this show that everybody started so young. Like I thought it was one of those things that once you guys got like in maybe at the earliest middle school, that's when y'all got into this. Not at such a young age. How hard of a transition? How hard was it for you to transition from the bikes to going to four wheels?
Honestly, not too hard. I think just the dirt bikes teach you a lot of just throttle control and just a lot of bike control where it kind of all turns over to the cars where it's a lot of line choice and just stuff like that. It wasn't terrible, and I was still young, and I've always been pretty fortunate. I've always been pretty good at adapting to things pretty quick.
Now you're in the ARCA series, and you're also currently competing in the Robbie Gordon's Stadium Super Truck Series. What exactly is the Stadium Super Truck Series?
Stadium Super Trucks is, I don't know, Robbie designed them a couple years ago to be it's pretty much a replica of the Mickey Thompson Off-Road Series that was around, I don't know, 20 years ago. Pretty much just wanted to bring that back and do nowadays style. And the trucks are little. They look big, but they're actually probably the size of a Ford Ranger. 650 horsepower. 23 inches of travel on the front. I think there's almost 30 inches of wheel travel in the rear, and pretty much do whatever you want. And we race in stadiums, and then we also do a lot of stuff with like the IndyCar courses, road course stuff, and then he makes like these little metal jumps that we jump.
Now, don't get me wrong, because I am by far, my number one sport is NASCAR, and that, asphalt racing. As much as I like dirt racing and everything else, NASCAR by far is my number one favorite sport. But listening to your background, knowing you did the dirt biking, and knowing you're doing the super truck, it almost seems like you would be bored with just being on asphalt, doing some circles, and being done. Like, I know NASCAR is very competitive, and I know there's excitement there, but knowing your background, I just would think that it'd be like a snooze for you. Like, you've done all this other exciting jumping, dirt, and everything else, and then now you're just doing circles on asphalt.
I mean, yeah, I did some late model stuff with Tim Russell down in Florida, and honestly, I did not like it at all. I was just bored out of my mind, and just getting used to it. I adapted pretty quick, but I found it really frustrating just having to do a lot of car setup. If the car wasn't good, then I wasn't good, which just frustrated me. Where I've come from, like the dirt stuff, it's a lot more driver than it is the car you're driving. So I really, really didn't like it at first, but I got into an ARCA car with Cunningham in September, and I got a test at Kansas, and it was pretty cool. And then I got an ARCA car here recently in Nashville, which my first test out 6 weeks ago now, and I actually liked it. Just I don't know what it was, just flip of a switch. Unless I'm getting older, and that's fun to me now, or whatever it was, just the challenge that it brings. It's actually not too bad to me now.
Now, I see not only you're the reigning Stadium Super Truck champion, but the 2015 X Games Austin gold medalist and the one silver the year before. The X Games, that's something pretty intense. I've seen quite a bit of that. We've had a few different X Game athletes. I think they did the snowmobile stuff. What got you into the X Games, and how competitively intense is the X Games, especially with the what you were doing?
X Games was just another Stadium Super Truck event. I think either Robbie went to X Games or X Games came to Robbie, and they won another four-wheel sport in there other than rally cars, and just pretty much came in, built a track for us, and 20 Stadium Super Trucks fighting for a gold medal.
Like what, that's the back. Just the things you've done, like. We've had quite a few athletes. There's been a few of them that they said they've done everything but race in a tub, and if they had the opportunity, they would take a bathtub out there and race. But just your extensive background is just amazing to me. Toledo obviously didn't fare out as well as you was hoping, getting caught up in an early race incident, but finished well. I've heard different things about Toledo. What was your experience like in Toledo? What was the track like for you?
No, every track we've gone to this year has been new to me, so for sure it takes me 20, 30 laps to get used to it, but honestly pretty fun. It was, I think Salem's been my favorite so far, but Toledo, just pretty cool. It's kind of tough to get around at first, not a whole lot of traction, and a lot of roll speed there, so every time we get to a new track, I'm still learning a lot.
Now, you're about to make your first ever road course start in New Jersey this Saturday, which, with everything you've done, it's hard to believe that you've not been on a road course yet. How nervous are you about going to a road course, and what is the team here in Motorsports done to kind of prepare you for this upcoming race?
I'd for sure say I'm not nervous, but I've been working with Troy Adams a lot lately with shifter carts and road tax carts, just working with momentum stuff and being smooth and saving tires. So I think that helps me a lot. I'm gonna go drive go-karts tomorrow, actually, just get one last road course practice in, and I'm excited. I did a couple of things at Willow Springs with some late model stuff. Ended up getting my first race there, and then the last race the car broke, so I didn't finish. But I'm pretty excited to do a lot of road course stuff with the stadium trucks, and that's more where I come from. I guess the off-road's a lot of lefts and rights where I'm not really used to the whole left-hand turn stuff, so I'm pretty excited for it this weekend.
It's not the thing with your background. I would assume you had some experience with that. Hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of advantage. I'm assuming that there's some drivers out there that have never experienced any kind of road course, and at least you've got the experience of making left-hand, right-hand turns out there. Out of everything you've had the opportunity to race in so far, what has been the easiest or maybe felt the most natural to you? And then likewise, what has maybe been the most difficult for you to get the hang of, or just really never maybe ever felt natural to you?
Shoot, the easiest, I don't know, probably the off-road stuff, probably Lucas Oil, the Pro Light class. I just came out of modified karts, the trophy karts, and then jumped into a bigger sized truck, and I wouldn't say anything's easy in racing. There's always no challenges that come with it, but I'd say that came the easiest to me, and hardest has for sure been this circle track asphalt racing. It's not that it's super hard to drive the cars. It's more the setup to the car, the qualifying, the saving tires. It all comes with it. It's frustrating, very frustrating to me to you'll go out and run no fast practice time and then qualify good, and then 30 laps into the race your car's junk. So that's been super frustrating to me, but hopefully keep working at it and get some wins.
Yeah, I was going to ask how the tire wear, going from what you've been used to going to the ARCA series, I think that would be probably the biggest thing to me to adjust. And it kind of reminds me of watching Daytona Thunder, said something about earlier, where they were talking about, and I don't know if you ever seen Daytona Thunder, where they ended up doing the practice, and this was so many laps on my tire, so many laps to, run my way, run his way, and they were showing the difference in the tire and the time. Is that probably the biggest thing that you had to work on or will be working on this year, is conserving in tire wear?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I come from a sport where you're always sideways, so I don't really have a problem driving these things sideways. I'll get loose off the corner, I'll just stay in it, where now I'm trying to work on just being smooth and just keeping the car hooked up. So tires is huge in this game, and I got to learn how to save them.
Now, I'll do one more race question, then I want to step away from that in a second, then we'll get into the 2016 season a little bit more. Proudest or biggest moment of your career to this point, the biggest maybe accomplishment, which you got quite a resume there, so I'm kind of interested in which one you're most proudest of. And then I'm always curious to hear probably the most embarrassing moment. And I've heard some very interesting stories, and Brandon Martin, he runs down in Florida, he told me a couple of stories that had me rolling at times. So I'm always interested to know that one of those moments, like what was I thinking, or what was the team thinking, or a whoopsie kind of moment. But your proudest moment or your biggest accomplishment, and then one of those moments that you really wish you could have back.
Oof. What was the first one again?
your proudest moment or biggest accomplishment, or
Okay.
what trophy sitting on your shelf? That's the top trophy at this point.
Probably my coolest accomplishment, what I would say, was winning the gold medal at X Games. But I think the hardest, took the most work, was for sure the Pro Light Championship that we got in 2014. I mean, all season long, just working hard on the car at the shop at nights, and just a hard fought championship. I think it was me and Brian Deegan battled. We're within probably 10 points the Hoyer long, and came down to the last race. I think we finished like 4 points from each other. So I'd say that's the hardest fought one. And then most embarrassing, down in New Smyrna 2 years ago, just rolling out for practice laps and just spinning the tires, getting it warm and stuff, and entering 3, I got the car a little sideways, was playing around, and just lost it under yellow in practice. So I kind of laughed to myself, what an idiot, but didn't hurt the car or nothing.
Now, speaking of the X Games, obviously 2 years already, it's over in the gold. Even with you being in the ARCA series, are you going to be doing any more of the X Games, or is that something that you're done with?
Yeah, for sure. I want to do X Games. I think X Games took stadium trucks out this year. I'm not sure if they're doing rally cars again, but for sure want to do it again. If it's a stadium truck or a rally car, I'll do either.
Now, getting to know you a little bit, you said you started when you was 3 years old. One, was this a family thing growing up that you and your family was involved with, or was it one of the things that you constantly race for other people?
No, I mean, my family has always been into racing. And my parents grew up going to the desert and just around off-road stuff all the time. And then, I don't know, he kind of got me into it. My dad just put me on a bicycle and ended up being good at it, I guess.
What was it like with school and having this career, as early as 3 years old? I'm sure that you didn't get to have maybe the normal kid life and the social life with everything going on with your career and your involvement. What was that like for you growing up and trying to have somewhat of a regular childhood as well?
I mean, I was always a normal kid growing up. I was out of town a lot, just at races and stuff, and didn't miss too much school all the way up till about 6th, 7th grade, and then that's when I missed a lot of Fridays and Mondays. Gone on the weekends racing, and freshman year is when I started homeschooling, and I've been homeschooled my whole high school. I'm about to graduate here in about 4 weeks, so high school's been tough. I've been gone. These days I've probably gone 2 to 3 months out of the year racing, so school homework gets tough sometimes, gets a little stressful, but always make it happen. My mom's been on top of me about getting schoolwork in and graduating, so at least I got her to keep me pushing, or else probably would have gave up on that a while ago.
Well, congratulations on the fact that you're getting ready to graduate. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that they don't find the importance of graduating. So I'm glad that you have somebody there to make sure that they can't push you along. You always got to have something to follow. You never know. Middle of the week. Here we are Tuesday, but tomorrow night, no show, nothing going on. Just say that it's Wednesday. You have an opportunity to just kind of clear your mind for a couple hours. What does Sheldon do to just get away, kind of clear his mind? Not thinking about the next weekend's race yet. Trying to put Toledo behind you. Not looking at New Jersey yet. Just a couple hours to yourself. What do you do?
I used to go ride dirt bikes all the time, but I got cut off that. I'm not allowed to get hurt, so just probably go ride mountain bikes or dirt jumps on a bicycle or something like that without trying to get hurt, or going and hang out with friends, maybe just hanging out at the house or whatever. Actually, just normal kid stuff. I mean, I don't really do anything different other than what normal kids do.
Well, I mean, every kid's a little bit different. I mean, what I did back in high school is probably something totally different than what you. I assume y'all do normal kid stuff. It just, I don't know. People get this picture of what athletes do and what, you know, and so it's kind of, you know, an opportunity for us to kind of just know what athletes do in their spare time. It's kind of the same thing. Say you don't have a race next week. Say New Jersey was not next weekend. It was 2 weeks down the road, and, you know, Lear Motorsports said, you know what, you got the weekend to just kind of be yourself for the weekend. What would you go do for a weekend?
Oof. I mean, this weekend is opening weekend for mountain bike for the Big Bear, so maybe go ride the trails with some buddies, or I don't know, just usually don't make plans till probably Friday, so it's tough to say, but I don't know, just I really wouldn't know what I'd do till really then, but probably just hang out and relax for the weekend.
And I feel I've been the same way ever since, you know, I was 18 in the military. I you know, once I got back from overseas, it was military and a 50-hour job on top of that, and it was always been 60-70-hour jobs ever since then, until recently. But then there's kids and family and everything else involved. If I just had a free weekend to do whatever, I don't know what I would do. It'd be kind of one of those things. It'd be kind of a spur of the moment if I did anything, because so used to, you know, this going on, you know, especially with you with the racing and the school and everything else, that, you know, you don't really think, wow, if I got a weekend off, what would I do? It's like you're just not used to those kind of things. 2016 so far, where are you at in the points, and what are your goals? I mean, obviously, you know, winning races and the championships, everybody's goal, but what are your goals? What would you like to accomplish in 2016?
For sure, I want to win the Stadium Truck Championship again, so be back-to-back, and then just race as many ARCA and Truck Series races as I can get in. I mean, no, I'd race every weekend if I could, but it all just comes back to, you know, sponsor money and just getting the opportunity to jump in different race cars. I'd like to do some of that, at least get a couple wins. I really fighting for this first win in ARCA or just anything in asphalt. And if I could do the whole season ARCA, I totally would. I mean, I'm sitting 10th in points right now, and I missed the first round at Daytona, so not terrible. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that, but just want to continue doing good, continue getting better at this stuff, and I just keep working hard at it.
Have you had the opportunity to run on a super speedway in your career yet to this point?
Yeah, I ran Talladega a few weeks ago in ARCA.
And how was that for you? Like I don't know. And I hate using this comparison, but I think it was Talladega. It was either Talladega or Daytona that I played on the video game. Like that was the most intense. Like I can never duplicate it. It was on Xbox. I was on a big screen TV. And it was one of those times where I wanted to run the perfect race. I didn't want to wreck nobody. I didn't want to screw up anything. I wanted to try to have the most perfect race I could ever have. I think it was I think I did like 25% length of the race. But here I am, nervous, sweating, and I have never been so into a game ever in my life. And I'm not one of those that get into a lot of games. I have a PS3. I got rid of the Xbox. I have a Wii. I probably got 50 games, and half the games are probably still in the wrappers. I just don't have time to play it. And I'll find games when I work different jobs or different scenarios where I can get the games for next to nothing, or people bought me games. And like I said, I just don't allow myself to get into it just because I don't want it to consume myself away from, you know, me being at the gym or me here's the 110 Nation or work or family time. So it basically the PS3 and the Wii just become used for Netflix and really about it at this point. But what was it like to run at Talladega with the drafting and just those speeds and everything else?
I mean, it's different for sure. It's the first time I've ever really worked with air. I mean, you'll get a little bit of air stuff at long tracks with the stadium trucks. You can draft a little bit, and go-karts a little bit of stuff. ARCA, I mean, if you're on smaller tracks a little bit, but no, I really never done anything that involves the drafting and how you pass and stuff. So I just tried to take it easy. I stayed in line right behind my teammate, Kyle Weatherman, for the first, I'd say, 20, 30 laps. We just stayed at the bottom, running like 20th, and got some runs and stuff and just played around with it just to see what I had and where I could go. And I don't know, it was pretty fun, honestly. Just I didn't lift for, I want to say, like 46 laps straight, and my right leg was just, it fell asleep. It was actually starting to cramp up. I got lucky to get a yellow, but no, it's different for sure. It's all air there, and as good as you can keep the momentum going once you get drafted. So it was pretty cool. I got myself up to, I want to say, like 8th, and then just tried to take a little risky move and try to go to the high side, and just 2 people followed me up there and kind of left me hanging. So I dropped back to 14th, and that's where I ended up finishing. But no, pretty happy where I finished there, and learned a lot.
In the asphalt racing in the ARCA series, what kind of track do you prefer? The half mile, mile and a half, or the super speedway? I can't say real course, you've not done that yet with the ARCA series, but as a track that you have done so far, what do you prefer when it comes to the ARCA series?
I first like the short track stuff more. I haven't done any mile or mile and a half or 2 mile stuff yet. I just tested at Michigan last week, and then I tested at Kansas, which both of those are pretty cool. You're on the gas a lot and a lot of momentum stuff, where same as the short track stuff, the half mile stuff. I like that a lot just because it takes a driver to get in there and do it, and a lot of car stuff's going on. So I'd say the short track stuff is for sure my favorite.
How did it come about that you ended up over at Lear Motorsports, and what's it been like for you over there so far?
Carlos was actually at one of my stadium truck races. Guy named Pat O'Keefe, he owns the Safecraft, which sponsors my ARCA car. Carlos and him were friends, and he ended up just coming to the race we had in Florida. I met him there, and he's like, hey, why don't you come test with us next week? I said, all right, and ended up going testing and being pretty good in the car. And Carlos actually worked really hard at putting the deal together with sponsorship and stuff, and now here we are 4 races later.
That's definitely cool. It's just amazing how sometimes things just work out, right time, right place, people knowing the right people, and obviously your successful background obviously helped make that all possible, but it's just really cool how sometimes it's just all about timing sometimes, your resume could be 1,000 miles long, but if you don't ever come across the right people at the right time, and it just ain't the right timing for, certain teams, and it don't matter how extensive your resume is, if it's not a right fit or right time, it don't matter. So definitely glad for your situation that the timing all came into play, and you definitely have the resume to back that up. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the rest of the 2016 season plays out for you, and the rest of your career for that matter. And definitely wish you the best of luck. I want to thank you. Like I said before you got on here, it's amazing how quick 30 minutes goes by. But I definitely want to wish you the best of luck on the rest of the season. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's definitely been a privilege and honor. I love having the opportunity to meet new athletes and new drivers. And hopefully we get you back later in the season and get an update on how things are going. And as I said, wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. You have a great night.
You too.
That was Sheldon Creed, ARCA Series driver, Super Truck driver, ex-game gold medalist, silver medalist, Super Truck champion, and looking to be back-to-back champion. definitely has a very extensive, deep background, and I tell you what, he keeps going on the path he's going. He's going to have a very successful career, and we're definitely going to keep our eye out on him over there at Lear Motorsports. Before we get to Noah on the show, we got him in the studio as well. We've had him. I want to say at least. I know we've had him at least once. It might have been just last year. Ms. Lee was not. Couldn't remember if we had him on earlier in this year or not, and I can't remember either. And it kind of surprises me because Ms. Lee is on top of everything. Excuse me, she keeps tabs on everything, and I used to keep a calendar and I could go back and find out. But this season, for some reason, I had between the moving 2 or 3 times and everything else, I have just not kept up with the plan, the planner that I normally keep everything in. But Miss Lee, she's super phenomenal and does an excellent job. That's why I was surprised she couldn't remember. I think she was out and about, and I don't think she had her notes in front of her. But I know we had no one at least once already, if not twice. So looking forward to having him back on the show and catch up with what he has going on. But before we jump into that, I got to make sure once again I thank Snafu Seasoning. Here we go with me being a kid again. Snafu Seasoning, you guys check them out at snafuseasoning.com. That's SNAFU. Seasoning.com. Yes, I'm going to do that every single time, at least until we get an actual commercial made up for them. I'm going to always, I don't know why. The official sponsor of Racing with Big Sweat Thursday night, 9 p.m. Make sure you guys check them out over at snafuseasoning.com. It's like $6.99 a bottle. It is all natural, no preservative. And the easiest way to get a bottle, to be honest with you, just listen into the Thursday night show. Call in, ask some questions, or speak to the host. He'll hook you up with a bottle of Snafu Seasoning. So make sure that you guys check them out as well. Also, looks like we're going to have a couple great. I'm waiting for Miss Lee, but she didn't confirm. I think we're going to have, and I'll announce this later on, because we're about to have a first-time guest tomorrow night, and pretty big guest tomorrow night. So looking forward to that as well. But Fit for Life, there we go. That was the other one I had to think. Make sure you guys check them out on Facebook, Fit for Life. Also check them out at www.fitforlife.com. I know we have 10 locations in our area. 365, 24/7, accessibility to the gym. Shorty and I go there. We love the opportunity to go up there and get our workout on. We did it Monday. She didn't want to do it yesterday. No, we did it Sunday. She didn't want to do it yesterday. She was beat. Today our schedules were conflicting where she was gone by 7 o'clock this morning. I was gone by the time she got off. I got here in time to get the show started and get it scheduled and get the links out. And it was showtime. We did chest on Sunday, and you know that part right on the top part of your chest, right before your armpit, when you work chest and it's sore, where you don't want to be poked. Well, I poked her at it yesterday. She did find it very funny where her chest was sore. But great gym, great place to get your workout on. Make sure you guys check them out, Fit for Life. Without any further delay, let's go ahead with Fit. Without any further delay, let's get our second guest on the show. Like I said, we've had him on the show before. I think it was last season, and I say season. It's funny how I do this because when I talk about the show, I count my season with the race season. I don't know why. I don't compare it to any other sports season, but when I say season, the season kicks off at the beginning of the year. So even though our official birthday is April 15th, so we're going into our 6th season. I kind of say our, last season or the 2 seasons ago, based on the racing season. I don't know why I do that, but I do. But anyway, we've had Noah on before. Looking forward to getting an update on how things are going for Noah. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get him on the show. How you doing tonight, Noah?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to have you back on. It's been a hot minute either way, if it's been earlier this year or last year. Still a debate on when it was, but it's been a hot minute, so glad to have an opportunity to catch up with you. Before we jump into this, like before, I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself social media-wise. It would be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you have to use. team site, personal site, sponsorship, anything you want to throw out there. That way the fans have an opportunity to know you on a professional and personal level, not only in 2016, but moving forward in your career.
Yep. First off, I appreciate you guys having me on, and you guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Noah Gragson and Facebook at Noah Gragson Racing. Those are I try and keep up on Twitter and Instagram the most, and as well as Facebook. But keep up on there. Follow me. Racing in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East and West Series. So just keep up with me on what I'm doing, and I try and post as much as possible, and then really get to know the fans.
East and West, pretty busy schedule. How hard is that to balance all that with participating in both series?
Yeah, I'm the only driver to be running the East and West Series full time, so it's definitely difficult. I'm running for Jefferson Pitts Racing. They're based out of Washington State, so it's definitely a long haul out to those East Coast races, but it's definitely worth it. It's tough getting back there, but we're making the best of it right now, and definitely have a lot of speed. So we're going actually back there on Saturday to test at Dominion Raceway in Virginia for the next K&N East race, which is on Monday. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Now, are you running the full schedule on both? Do any of these races overlap, or are you just doing partial schedule? How does that work?
Nope. Full schedule for both series, which is planned right now. And there's only one race that's overlapping, and that's in Iowa. It's a combination of race. So right now we have to pick a side, East or West, when it comes down to the race. So I'm not sure what side I'm going to pick, but hopefully we can work NASCAR over and get points for both. But as of now, I have to choose a side once we get to Iowa.
Now, when doing this, are you eligible to win the championship in both series?
Yes, it's possible to win the championship in both series. I think a few years ago when Ben Rhodes won, he had enough lead in the East that if he did run the West Series that he could have won. He didn't run any of the West Series, but if he did, he could have won both. So it's definitely possible. I don't know how realistic it is, but we're definitely trying for it and shooting for it. So everyone's really pumped up about it. We're giving it our all, and just having fun with it.
Now, do you know if anybody's ever done that before, or is that something you not know, or I know you said Ben Rhodes could have, but do you know if anybody's ever done that before?
No, I think Dalton Sargent was trying to last year, but there's too many overlapping races. But now there's only one, which is a combination event, so I haven't studied it too much, but from what I've heard, I believe I'm the first driver to ever attempt it. So it's pretty cool, and if we can compete in both series all the way up to a finish, it'd be cool to write the name in the history books as the first driver to run both East and West Series full time in 1 year.
Now, 17 years old, that's a lot on your plate. Now, I'm assuming with this extensive schedule that you're homeschooled?
Yeah. I just actually finished up school a couple weeks ago. My junior year, so I still have another year of high school left. So just trying to get it all cranked out. I finished with all A's as last year's school, so it's definitely benefited me just working around my own schedule and going out east and west. It takes a lot of time, and I'm just very thankful to be doing what I'm doing.
I can imagine, especially the opportunity sitting in front of you. You're talking about possibly making some history, and you're only 17 years old. That says a lot about your dedication and where you want to see yourself at. And you're talking about all A's. How hard is it? I don't know much about homeschooling. So I don't want to, when people say homeschool, then people just like, oh, you just at home. And I know it's not that simple. It's just like I know I've done online schooling when I got out of the military, and people were like, well, you just online schooling. It's not the same. Well, actually, it was there's a lot of work when you do online schooling. So How difficult is it to maintain having those great grades and having this career as well?
Oh yeah, it's definitely difficult. Just maintaining grades and traveling every weekend from the East and West Coast. It's hard. I go Monday through Thursday. I do it online, so it's difficult. I got a lot of work to do, and but I get it done. Like I said, I finish with all A's, and I have a tutor that I go to. I go to my tutor's house, and she kind of keeps me disciplined and on track. So she's been a huge help to me.
Do you get much time to yourself? I mean, it sounds like you don't really care if you do, because it sounds like you are all in on what you're doing, but do you get much time to yourself?
Yes, every now and then. I just actually finished up school a couple weeks ago, so I've been real busy just traveling back and forth coast to coast. But during the week, now that it's summer, I've been out swimming and riding my bike and doing all the normal kid stuff. So it's been good. I do get a lot of time to myself. I've been playing night racing lately, so I have a lot of fun. And now that it's getting time for summer, I can go swimming and do a bunch of that kid stuff that I normally wouldn't get to do with school and racing and all that. I didn't really get a lot of free time, but now I get a little bit more.
Now, 2015 Rookie of the Year, how big of an accomplishment was that for you personally, or what did it mean to you being Rookie of the Year? And obviously winning a championship this year would top that, but what do you want to have maybe outside of a championship? And I hate asking this question because everybody wants to answer, I want to win races and win a championship. And we all know that's what you guys want to accomplish. But personally, working on knowing what you need to accomplish and what you need to improve on yourself to make yourself an even better driver, what are some of the goals you want to accomplish in 2016? And like I said, what was it like? What did it mean to you to be Rookie of the Year last year as well?
Yeah, Rookie of the Year was huge for me. It's good to put on the resume, but personally as a driver, I really the championship was kind of a bummer. But as a driver, I really want to learn as much as I can. And yeah, the championship's going to help you out on the resume down the road, but I feel like just learning as much as possible is huge, and completing all the laps and getting as much seat time as I can. Being the only driver to run both East and West Series and basically being in the car every single weekend, it's huge, and it's a huge benefit to me in my learning curve. I've only been racing for 4 years now, and this is my second year in stock cars. So last year it was really cool, battling, contending for a championship. But I just really want to win and be competitive. And I definitely think we have speed at Jefferson Keats Racing, and we're a very good contender in the K&N East and West Series both. But just learning the most as we can is the biggest thing, personally, I think.
Now, is there a difference when it comes to the competitiveness, the East and the West? I'm looking at your stats, and in 2016, out in the West, you got 2 top 5, 4 top 10s, you're 4th in the points, your average start and finish are 6, but out in the East, you only got just 2 top 10s, you're 7th in the points, and your average start and finish is around 10th. Is that just happen to be the tracks that you happen to run at? Is the competitiveness different between East and West that makes these numbers look different? What's so far been the biggest difference that you're having a little bit more success out in the West Series versus East Series?
Well, the team I'm with has run, I think, the last 5 years on the West Coast, and they're very familiar with the tracks out here. So it doesn't hurt being able to unload with a baseline setup that's fairly close to what we ran last year and the years before. But coming out East, it's kind of hard because we don't really have a lot of knowledge for those tracks out there. We've never really been there, and it takes a little bit longer to get parts and everything, being on the West Coast. We're not in the hub back in North Carolina, so it just takes longer to get parts and just a little bit more time to do everything. But I think we're definitely competitive on both sides. I haven't had as many races on the East, so that's why I don't think we've had the results. But we definitely have been competitive, leading laps at VIR, battling in the top 5 for sure at most of the races this year on the East and West. So definitely competitive. I think it's tough to beat those guys like Todd Gillen and Ryan Partridge on the West, but the competition on the East is very stout as well. So I wouldn't say any side is harder. I would just say they have their small differences, but both are pretty huge. I mean, last year, a West Coast driver, Brennan Carnolds, who is my spotter now, he won Iowa both times. So that was the first time it's ever been done on history. Normally an East guy wins it, so that says a lot about the West Coast and what we've been doing to develop. And we're definitely fast, and we can definitely compete with those East guys.
Gotcha. Also, know last year you got the opportunity to participate in one ARCA Series race and also was in the Snowball Derby. Is there any plans in 2016 for you to participate in either one of those?
Yeah, I think we have our sights set on a few ARCA starts this year. I'll actually be announcing a big announcement for that coming in the next couple days, if not the next week. But doing that, not sure if we'll run the Snowball Derby again. It's a really big race and a really hard thing to do. Got to go down there and test and all that stuff, so it's difficult. But hopefully, that's one of the coolest races I've ever been a part of. So definitely trying to do the ARCA stuff and hopefully get some of the Snowball Derby race lined up. That'd be awesome.
I was going to say, everybody that talks about it has never been there, even as a fan. That is like the Super Bowl of racing. How much did that help you have that opportunity to be there, just to have that experience and be in that kind of atmosphere? I mean, I know being the ARCA Series, an ARCA Series race is a big deal, and what you got going on the KN Pro Series is a big deal, but this is a Snowball Derby. This is like being at your first Daytona 500 in the Sprint Cup Series. In a lot of people's description, I don't know how big of a deal it was for you, but how big a deal was it, and how much did it help you to have that experience?
Oh, it was cool. I completely agree that it's probably the biggest short track race in the nation. Definitely the Super Bowl of short track racing. So you got all your best guys that go down there every year, and just to be a part of the 36 drivers, the top 30 to qualify in, it's a huge accomplishment to me, and it's definitely a huge benefit. But I was actually sitting on the grid waiting to go out, and I saw all the fans and everything, and it definitely looked like a cup race, so it was pretty cool. So it is a huge accomplishment to make that race, and definitely good to put on the resume.
That's definitely cool. Didn't quite go the way you wanted it to, but at least you got that experience. And I'm a firm believer, regardless of how the outcome comes, obviously we want to have the greatest outcome, but to have, different scenarios and have, to be at a track that is, in the spotlight and the prestige that it carries, and, it makes it a little bit easier because you've already had that experience when you get to the next level and you get to the next big event that you're going to be involved with. You know what, I've already been here, I've already gone through this pressure, and regardless how it turns out, at least you've gotten that experience, and that's cool that you already knocked that out of your on your resume and already know what it's kind of like to be in something like that. What kind of tracks do you prefer? Are you a short track kind of guy? With these intermediate kind of tracks, a super speedway? What kind of tracks do you prefer?
I like the little quarter-mile racetracks where you're fighting for position the whole entire race. Definitely beating a million, and I like those bigger tracks. That's kind of what you have to adapt to. If you want to move up through the ranks, you have to be able to run those 1.5 mile tracks and bigger. So they're cool. You got to figure out the aero and momentum and everything. Momentum's huge around those bigger tracks. So competed in the ARCA race at Kentucky last year. So kind of got a little taste of what it's like to be on one of those big tracks. So it's cool. It's definitely cool. I hope to take part in a couple more of those big race tracks. I'm only 17, so I have to wait till I'm 18 to be able to compete on the bigger 1.5 mile and 2 mile race tracks. So waiting for that day to come. I turn 18 in July, and so hopefully I can take part in some of those bigger tracks and get more experience.
I keep forgetting about, well, not only your age, especially with the career you've had already, but that age thing and the tracks that you're limited to. Is that going to be frustrating at times, knowing that you get to race in all these different races and the success you've had, and you've shown the world that you can handle what you do, but yet you're still restricted to certain tracks?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but rules are rules, and just got to stick to them. I don't have much longer. I definitely think us younger guys can definitely take advantage of the racetrack, and we definitely have the talent and skill-wise to be able to run them, but just with liability issues and all that stuff, it's just rules that you have to battle, and it's unfortunate, but time will tell, and hopefully one day I can run on those bigger tracks full-time every weekend.
Now, I know that exposure for the K&N Pro Series is gained a lot, NBC Sports and what they do, and just different coverage and different outlets. Being that you've been there for the last couple of years, have you noticed an increase in the attendance and the ratings and everything when it comes to the K&N Pro Series?
Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with recent years with everything. Last year was the first year. I think they televised every race on the East and West Coast. So definitely hats off to NBC Sports Network. They stepped up, and they're allowing us to have viewership of every race. So that makes it really nice to be on TV and to tape delay races so I can go back and watch them and kind of learn from my mistakes and see what I did wrong and see what I did right. But it's huge to be able to go back and watch those races. Definitely cool to be on TV, and I get people all the time texting me and everything saying they see me on TV. So it's cool, and definitely doesn't hurt.
Most definitely. And I've asked a few drivers this. I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever gone back and watched yourself celebrate after winning the race and possibly even kind of shook your head like, what was I doing? What was I thinking? I know you're down there in victory lane and you're just happy to win and be beside yourself, but have you ever come back and actually watched yourself sometimes down there in victory lane and just kind of shook your head like, what was I thinking? Yeah,
I go back and watch every race, and I won 2 races last year, and actually a funny story is my first interview on TV, I had no clue what I was doing. It was after my first race. I finished 3rd in my first career start, and had to do an interview, and oh man, I didn't hear the end of it. It was horrible. I looked like a deer in headlights, kind of like the Ricky Bobby interview when he's putting his hands up and everything. I just had no clue what I was doing, but I like to joke around about it and just make the best of the situation and hopefully not make those mistakes again.
Oh goodness! And I feel you. I remember my first big interview. I had an opportunity to actually work for NASCAR. I did a piece for NASCAR.com, and I got to interview David Reagan and R.J. Mitty from Breaking Bad, and I just had all I know was I was sweating like I should have never been sweating in my life, and I really had no idea what I was going to say. And luckily there was a conversation right before about something I was involved with another driver with the Shriners Hospital. That kind of opened the whole conversation. That's where the whole interview ended up going to. But yeah, I all day long and all week long, I knew this was coming up, and I still was clueless and had that deer in the headlight look until all of a sudden I just got lucky. In the last second, somebody said something. But I've always been curious if drivers ever go back, or any athlete period, when they've won something big and just watch themselves and like, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? Or I've never done that before kind of scenario. But I think the other one that really said something like that was, I think Mason Mitchell might have said the same thing, where he just did something off the wall or something. But I want to thank you, Noah, for giving us your time again. These interviews go by so quick. Well, I hate saying interviews because I feel like they're a conversation. I don't feel they're like the traditional interviews. I usually just say conversation. But I want to wish you the best of luck, and I would love to have the opportunity to see you accomplish winning a championship, East and West. I think that would be really cool. And if there's been anybody that I've seen in the K&N Pro Series to this point, be able to do it, you're up there on that list of drivers that I feel that is very possible of doing it. Hopefully we get you back later in the season. Hopefully you're on track and are looking to wrap up 2 championships in the same year. That would be really cool. But I definitely want to wish you luck on 2016. Hopefully we see you in a couple ARCA Series races and a couple other things that you might have going on. Definitely want to wish you luck in the rest of your career, as well as you're off to a really good start on this career. So definitely want to wish you luck, that it all continues. And once again, thank you for your time, and you enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and hopefully I get to talk to you soon in the future.
Yes, sir. You have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
That was Noah Gragson, A&M Pro West and East Series driver. Very, very excited about having him back on the show. How cool would that be to win East Coast, the East and the West? Like, nobody's done that. And like I said, Ben Rhodes, we've had him on the show. He had an opportunity, and I know Miss Lee is working on trying to get him back on the show. Interesting story. Me and Ben Rhodes, we started off on a very bad note when we first met. It was more of my pride getting the best of me. It was one of the things that we was in the media center, and it was at a track. I can't remember. I want to say it was probably Kentucky. I had this thing where I collect, and I know Shorty, she's back in the studio. She's probably shaking her head like, here we go. But I collect the programs and the cards you get at every track. Now, Homestead, they ran out of them, which kind of upset me. And then there was that Kentucky track. And the reason I didn't get the one in Kentucky was because I want to say it was Kentucky that it happened. No, it did happen in Kentucky. I remember. But the reason it happened in Kentucky was the programs and stuff was on the other side of the track. And the only time I went on the other side of the track was to actually hang out with Miss Lee and her husband. And so I'm sitting in the media center. I already know I'm not getting this time, and I've gotten every other car for every other track. I think the only other one I might have not got one for, and some of them come with a T-shirt, so I collected them as well. Back when I went to Charlotte, when I first moved down to North Carolina, and Atlanta back in '95, I didn't win. Gordon won his first championship because those were my first 2 tracks, and I just went with family and didn't think nothing of it. But ever since then, I've collected them. And so I'm sitting in the media center, and I already knew I wasn't going to get a car, and here Ben Rhodes is going from person to person in the media center, handing everybody his, I think, I want to say it was the 41 car he was driving that year, Delphi, I believe, machine, and I'm sitting there watching him do it, and he gets back to my area, and he totally skips me. And goes on his way, and I don't know, it was a pride thing. The 110 is very personal to me. Anybody who knows me, the 110, this is 5 years in the making. I have sacrificed a lot of time, a lot of money, and this is a lot of people that are involved. This is our future. We plan on being in the studio. We plan on being 24/7. We plan on having a full staff. That is us in the making, and it was kind of one of those things that, okay, just because we didn't have ESPN written on my label or Fox written on my label doesn't mean you shouldn't take the time to talk to me, because, we have a lot of great drivers and a lot of great athletes on the show. And I just felt kind of like, you just kind of blew me off. And we kind of rubbed the wrong way, but we got in contact with each other. We're great now, and we've had him on the show, and Miss Lee's had a sit-down interview with him at Mid-Ohio when she was there, and we have a great relationship with Ben Rhodes at this point. But it started off on the wrong foot. It was more of my pride getting the best of me because this is my baby. It's just like my family. Like, my father does not acknowledge I have a son, and I have not talked to him in 9, almost 10 years at this point because that is the one thing I wanted in life, and you do not acknowledge it. You do not have anything to do with me or him. So that's the way I look at it. I'm sorry, but I waited 28 years to have a son to carry on my name, and even though my ex wouldn't let him be a junior, I did get to have my initials. So I did at least get that much, but it's just one of those things. It's just like Mike's in the studio, and Mike posted something or did something, and he put 110 Nation or 110. I forget how he did it, but it said 110 Nation. It's personal to me. There's a reason why on the LLC it's the 110 Nation. Ohio State Buckeyes are a very big part of who I am, and my love for sports and college football, and there's a reason why they are the Ohio State Buckeye. They kind of distinguish themselves separately from all these other colleges, and so therefore, in following a team that I deeply love and deeply keep tabs on and follow their footsteps, that's why we are the 110 Nation, or the 110 Nation, however you want to say it. And yes, that's where it came from, and that's why we are the 110 Nation instead of just 110 Nation or whatever the case may be. And I had said something to him about it. He quickly changed it, and it was here or there. I was like, I don't want to sound petty, but there's a reason behind why it's the 110 Nation. And that's how personal I take it. And I feel that if I'm not petty with it and I don't take it personal, nobody else is going to take it personal. Therefore, we wouldn't have been around for over 5 years at this point, nor would anybody else want to grow. I mean, this was coming when Mike wanted to have a show on Friday. He's got a show on Friday. I'm all about, giving people opportunities and letting people want to participate on helping us grow. And we're on the works. We no longer have a Sunday night show. The Dirt Talk Hour is no longer a part of the 110. I don't even know what. I'm not going to get into that whole conversation. But we do have a couple feelers, and we're looking for a couple opportunities. I know that there's been an opportunity or two that involves racing, and as much as we love having all these great drivers on and have all these great racing shows, with Racing with Big Sweat and Rubbing His Racing and Hot Laps with Stats and Happy Hour Garage, we do want to have an opportunity. 4 of our 7 shows are racing shows. So I'm trying to get something that maybe is not, so we're more balanced and 50-50. So I'm hoping that we can come up with something possibly that is not just race related. So we hit all fans out there, but at the same time, we'll fill a Sunday spot. We know we got a couple opportunities laid in front of us. We're just trying to work out to figure out what is the best opportunity for the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. And speaking of which, best opportunity for the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network, we got our very own NHL expert in the house to get us updated on what's going on in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Izzo in the house. Izzo, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Jay. Watching the Game 6 of Tampa Bay Lightning and the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. That game's in the third period with 8:50 left to go. Pittsburgh's up 3-1, trying to force a Game 7. So I got it streaming on the TV in front of me while I'm talking to you. So it's going to be a good show.
There you go. Before we jump into this, how do the Buckheads out there follow you and be able to have a conversation?
Hey, you can follow me at 110 Puckhead there on Twitter. I'm always on there trying to debate some good hockey. Let's talk some good hockey. I've also joined the Writers Hockey group on Facebook. I'm on their page now. So feel free to jump in and take a look at the Hockey Writers group on Facebook, and follow me at 110 Puckett on Twitter.
Now, before we jump into this, I want to give one update. We do have NBA action going on tonight, so I know there's listeners out there that want to know what's going on. Oklahoma is up by 15 in the third, 74-59. The Golden State. I tell you what, you better find something real quick if you want to find yourself in the finals playing Toronto or Cleveland. But back to the NHL. Go ahead with what's going on since last Tuesday night.
Well, let's see. Last night we had San Jose take their Game 5 in that series. San Jose's up 3-2 against the Blues. Game 6 will be tomorrow night in San Jose. So San Jose's got a lot of momentum on their side, especially playing in their home on their home ice tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to that game. San Jose has seemed to have really gotten over the hump in the playoffs. Usually they had the tendency to be choke artists ever back, in the young days of Patrick Marleau, Evgeny Nabokov, Jonathan Tichu, Mike Ricci, and all those guys back in the day. But this team of Pavelski, Thornton, Logan Couture, even Joel Ward, who has stepped up, and with the back end presence of Vlasic and a big gargantuan lumberjack in the name of Brent Burns, have just really, taken a stranglehold on this series. We've seen goaltenders being shuffled around quite a bit in this series. Martin Jones has been usually the anchor of this San Jose team. He got pulled for a little bit of relief duty here the other day, but put on a solid effort last night as San Jose skated to a 6-3 win. It wasn't really necessarily a blowout. San Jose had 2 empty net goals at the end of that game because St. Louis was trying to tie the game with the extra attacker. We have an update now. We have Boyle, who just got his second goal of the game. Penguins are now up 3-2. With in the dying minutes of the third period. So this has become an interesting game. It's a whole new ball game right now. But getting back to San Jose is going to be really looking to really finish this off, especially on their home ice. You definitely don't want to go back to St. Louis for a Game 7, especially with dangerous guys like the way Troy Brouwer's been playing this postseason with Tarasenko. Backus, who's seemed to be a little bumped and bruised lately, hasn't really been able to play up to the potential he has been playing, Jay. So hopefully St. Louis can get over the disappointing loss yesterday in their home ice, and they can maybe steal one on the road to try and force a Game 7. So it'll be an interesting game tomorrow night. I'm really looking forward to it.
Definitely love to hear that. It's always great when series start to drag out, and just prime example, the NBA with Cleveland, it went up 2-0. It looked like we was going to see another sweep, and it looked like Cleveland was going to sit there. Now it's 2-2, and now with OKC going up, looked like they're going to go up 3-1. Now the Golden State's making a run back. I love seeing the series drag out, and we get to see the gritty grinding versus it just being done and over with, and really nothing worth watching.
Oh yeah, definitely, and you definitely want to see the Stars take over in these, later halves of the series that are going on. For Pittsburgh tonight, Letang, Crosby, and Kessel, they've all lit up the lamp, which is something Pittsburgh really needed. This HBK line has drawn a lot of attention from the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's good to see superstars perform, especially on both ends. If you look at Kucherov, the last 3 games that he played, not including this one tonight, I think Game 3 he had 2 assists. Game 4 he had 2 assists, and then in Game 5 he had 2 goals to help Tampa Bay win in overtime in Pittsburgh the other night. So you like to see your superstars really step up in in these later halves of the series, these 7-game series, which are so critical and pivotal when you're trying to advance to the Stanley Cup or even the NBA championship. This is where your stars need to shine, and this is where I think you get the best play in the sport and everything, the best skill showcased. So it's definitely something that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and I think that's why fans enjoy it so much, because they like that thrill, the adrenaline pounding plays and everything, the big thunderous hits, the big, miraculous saves, and more importantly, the pretty goals and everything. So I think that's what really propels these kinds of play. That's why I really like these playoff series and everything like that. You see the cream of the cream in the league really, get a chance to really show their stars. And in this case right now, Tampa Bay's trying to make it back-to-back, Stanley Cup, finals. They're trying to make it for the second year in a row with a team that's, without their starting goaltender in Ben Bishop and without their captain, Steven Stamkos.
Now, is there any possibility he can return if they do make it to the final, or is he done for the rest?
I do believe if this game is going forced to a Game 7, I do believe we'll see Vasilevsky in net again. I do believe that we will have, if Tampa Bay manages to advance to the Cup final, that they will have Ben Bishop back and ready to go. I think they're just trying to give him some more rest and everything for his lower body injury to heal up. This guy's been so critical for Tampa's success over the last couple seasons. Especially last season, getting to the Cup final. And a big. And a big factor of them getting back into the playoffs this year. They didn't start off too well. I think they only had like 97 points in the regular season. So if they do advance to the Cup final, they're going to be starting on the road. So you definitely want your starting goaltender in net. And I do believe that it might be possible to see him in Game 1 on Monday. If not, I would say Game 2 at the latest that we would see Ben Bishop. But another thing, we got the next Tuesday. We're going to have the World Cup rosters finalized, and it's kind of amazing if you look at some of the players that are going to be playing in this World Cup. A lot of them are still playing hockey right now. Most of them are, in this Tampa Bay Pittsburgh series right now, with guys like Tyler Johnson, Phil Kessel, Ben Bishop, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin. These are all guys that are going to be playing for their respective countries in the World Championships. Victor Hedman's going to be another one. Ben Bishop is another one. The U.S. is looking for him to be the number one goalie in the World Cup. We all know that Jonathan Quick has had a lot of success in the international international play, but I think this is now Ben Bishop's time to shine. Bishop, who, his career didn't really get off to, a solid start, bounced around a few teams, and then, Steve Yzerman, the general manager of Tampa Bay, saw something special in him, and put him on a team and in a system that really, allows him to thrive very well. Him being 6'5", 6'6", whatever it is, him being a very tall, long-legged guy takes a lot of the net away. So, this is a critical time for him. I think extra rest will do him good. He's going to be, really relied on in the World Cup and everything like that in Toronto. So, we have another up. Oh, never mind. I guess that one did not go in. That was kind of scary. But with 3:33 left, Pittsburgh's still up on Tampa Bay 3-2. So looking forward to seeing how this game ends in the dying minutes. But getting back, by next Tuesday we are going to see finalized rosters for Team Canada and USA and North America and Team Europe and everything. One article I was reading today, Jaromir Jagr will not be playing in the World Cup for the Czech Republic. I guess he had talked to the general manager of the Czech Republic, Rachinski, and said that he does not have the time to get in that kind of work in to be ready by the World Cup. We all know that Jagr signed another year deal with the Florida Panthers after leading them in the regular season in scoring. So we're not going to see Jagr in the World Cup this year, but I do believe that the Czech Republic is still going to be a pretty formidable team without him. So a lot of guys that they can still rely on and everything. So it's going to be kind of sad not to see old number 68, rocking the Czech jersey anymore. But, he feels that the team is probably better served, displaying their young talent coming up through the international ranks. So it's going to be an interesting time, come from September 17th to October 1st up in Toronto. Looking forward to seeing, the best hockey players in the world really putting on a show there up in Toronto. In the Air Canada Center, I do believe that's where they're going to be playing these games at. So it's going to be one fun-filled season. So we got Game 1 of the Stanley Cup on Monday night, and then we'll probably have a week and a half, 2 weeks of good games going on. So everybody's been rooting for their teams. It's going to be heartbreaking for one of the Western Conference teams between the Blues and the Sharks. Blues haven't been to the Cup final in a very long time, and the Sharks, who have never been to the Cup final since coming into the league back in the 90s and everything like that. So one of those two teams are going to be, going home, pretty sad. But one of them is going to be looking to, try and seal a cup, for the first time in their, franchise's history. So Tampa Bay has a cup from back in 2004. Pittsburgh's got 3 cups, the 2 back-to-backs in 91 and 92, and then in 2000, the third one in 2009. So, these two teams here in the East have been to the Promised Land a few times, and have tasted sweet victory. And I'm just excited to see Lord Stanley to come out, one more time, this year before teams, play to try and to grab him up and spend a day with old Lord Stanley Cup. So it's kind of interesting. It's really cool to see how players, because everybody on the team gets one day with the cup. You see, Instagram photos, Twitter photos. I've seen guys eat bowls of cereal out of the Stanley Cup before. Stanley Cup has been down at the bottom of Mario Lemieux's pool before. If the Stanley Cup can talk, I imagine thousands upon thousands of people would gather just to hear the stories, of Maurice Richard or, Ray Bourque or Joe Sakic, Marty Brodeur, all those guys. It would be a story just, you couldn't fall asleep to, Jay. It'd be just something magical if the Cup would actually tell the stories of its history and everything like that.
I can only imagine with any of these sports, the grand trophy of them all, and the stories it would tell.
Yeah, I mean, the Cup is over 120 years old now. It just started off as a bowl, and then, it has grown to what it is, today. 30 pounds of, shined metal with, legendary names etched on it. Legendary teams etched on it. So, it's pretty cool to, watch NBC do its coverage on the Stanley Cup and just see that trophy shine in the light. I've been blessed to touch it once in Florida at a hockey tournament with my brother. So I mean, I kind of teared up like a little girl going to an NSYNC concert. It was a very special moment for me. Knowing that some of the greatest players that I'm a fan of, ranging from Hasek to Scott Stevens to, Teemu Selanne, guys like that who have, touched the puck and spent time with the puck. It's just something completely special and something that, not everybody gets a chance to do. And fortunately enough for me, I was able to, lay my hand upon it and say, Oh, you know, it was just really cool.
Oh goodness. I think I've done that a few times talking to Shorty, and she just looked at me like I was crazy. Like, I don't know what we'd be talking about, but I was like, oh. So.
You know, we all have that one thing, that one sport. You know, whether it's the Super Bowl or the World Series title or the NBA title or even the national title in football. You know, you just, everybody has that one trophy that they just want to just put their hand on once and just say, hey man, I got to touch this, and I got to I might have not been a part of this team or anything, but I'm a fan of the team that won it, and it's it's just as important to me as it is to the players. So it's something special. So, I mean, well, we have an update here. Pittsburgh scored on a breakaway to make it 4-2. Brian Rust makes it 4-2 for the Penguins with just over 2 minutes left to play in the third. So, Tampa Bay's got some work to do if they want to try and to make this, trying to eliminate Pittsburgh tonight. So, it's all looking good for Pittsburgh right now. Tampa Bay is, in shock and awe right now. I believe the fans in Florida have just really died down. The crowd started off pretty good. It was actually this game really started off weird. Tampa Bay tried to open up the scoring first, but the goal was called back on an offsides play. It took the refs a few minutes to look at the video review on this play and everything, but Victor Hedman just barely had the puck over, and Jonathan Drouin, just had his toe just over that blue line, just enough to make that play offsides, which pretty much changed the outlook of this game, and Pittsburgh just ran away with it from there on out. But with under 2 minutes, Pittsburgh is up 4-2, Jay.
Now, Game 7, that be still in Florida, or is it they go back to Pittsburgh?
No, they'll be going back to Pittsburgh, not tomorrow night, but Thursday night. We'll be in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're going to get Shawn Michaels to come back to Pittsburgh for Game 7. I don't know if I've posted a few things on Twitter and on the 110 page on Facebook. This HBK line of Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel have actually done up quite a bit have made Shawn Michaels' HBK revenue jump up quite a bit. It's been actually kind of interesting, but Brett Kiesel of the Pittsburgh Steelers invited Shawn Michaels to a game and offered him a seat, and Michaels took to Twitter and said that he would attend Game 5. Primanti Brothers in Pittsburgh actually made an HBK sandwich in honor of the line in Pittsburgh, a ham, bacon, and kielbasa sandwich at Primanti Brothers, and there's a Twitter video of Kiesel and Shawn Michaels sitting at Primanti Brothers eating the HBK. So, it was pretty cool. Shawn Michaels, who is who lives down here in San Antonio, Texas, legendary wrestler in the WWE, just to see him become a hockey fan, and let alone a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. So, that was really cool to see. Really cool for him to be a part of. I know he did do an interview on the NHL Network with a couple guys over the phone, which was really cool to hear. And he just seemed, so ecstatic because his HBK revenue just shot up for that couple days just because of the Pittsburgh Penguins line of Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel. So that was pretty cool to see. I'm a big wrestling fan. I always liked Shawn Michaels, so I was pretty ecstatic to see that Sweet Chin Music made its way into the Berg and actually stopped at Primanti Brothers to have the HBK sandwich, Jay.
Next Tuesday, when we're sitting here, what two teams are we going to be talking about in the final?
I do believe I think we're going to have a Penguin Sharks final. I really do. And I think, we just went final in Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh hit an empty net, so they win the game 5-2. So we will have a Game 7 here in 2 nights in Pittsburgh. But I think depth and speed for the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to play a big factor in Game 7. I think we're going to have a Pittsburgh-San Jose Stanley Cup final, which should be pretty cool to see. These two teams are going to match up very interestingly to me. San Jose has a pretty active blue line defense with all their big stars on the blue line with Burns and Vlasic and all those guys. Joel Ward, who's also who came over from the Capitals to the Sharks, has played a pivotal role for him, scoring some big goals. I think Joe Thornton and Joe Pavelski, who's just been on a tear, are just going to really try and shut the door on St. Louis tomorrow night. So I do have San Jose picked to win this Game 6 in San Jose. They've played pretty well at home. Martin Jones, goaltender for the Sharks, has played on his toes. He's done the job, and he's winning games left and right for him. So I'm looking for San Jose closing the door on the St. Louis Blues tomorrow, Jay.
All right. And next Tuesday when we sit here, I'll get your pick on who you think's going to take it off, because at that point we'll know. And we'll probably have an idea, a game or two in, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So,
we'll be one game in next Monday, or this Monday night will be game 1. So looking forward to that, and then we'll also have finalized rosters for the World Cup teams.
All right, definitely looking forward to it. As always, it's an honor and a privilege to have you hang out with us and give us your NHL expertise and opinions and thoughts. I'm definitely looking forward to next Tuesday night, sitting right back here and discussing the finals and the World Cup roster. So you enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, you too, Jay. You enjoy your night.
Yes, sir. That was Izzo, our NHL expert. Love having him as part of the 110 Nation and giving us his NHL expertise. Second to none. It's great. I tell you what, this is probably, from beginning to end, probably one of the better shows we've had in a while. Everybody was 100% in tonight, from Shorty to Sheldon to Noah to Izzo. It flowed really well tonight. It always seems that there's always something, technical difficulties. Someone's not wanting to be very talkative or just something. There's always something. And last night my phone died in the middle of the show, and Mike had to step in. Before we jump off here, though, speaking of which, Mike's still in the studio hanging out. I want to give him an opportunity real quick to plug Friday's night show. So let me jump him on real quick. Mike, go ahead and plug what you got going on Friday night.
Hey, CJ. Okay, it's Friday. I'm going to start putting things up, and I guess Jay has the publicity from me. So I'll be posting things on Facebook, on Twitter, and also I have 2 pages. One is a fan page for Hot Laps with Stats, and also that particular page, I'm requesting that people, if you want to suggest a guest or 2, generally I have 2 guests per show. This Friday we'll have 3, 2 from Visconti Motorsports, John Visconti, and the driver is C.J. Lehman. So we'll be talking to them from Riverhead. And then the other thing I want to do with the program is try to circulate different tracks as well. In addition to Riverhead, have a driver from a different track in the east, which constitutes Wall, and the 2 or 3 tracks in Connecticut. With the rain, it's been kind of tough because everybody just had 1 show so far out of 3 potential weeks. But this particular Friday, we're going to have C.J. Lehman and John Visconti from Visconti Motorsports, who had started this year after running a Legend, started this year with the Crate Modified, and also Jimmy Blewett who is of the Blewett family, who's been racing modifieds forever on the East Coast and Long Island as well. They always trailered in from New Jersey. They're from New Jersey. And he is running Wall and on the Wayland Modified Tour. So it should be a very interesting show Friday night, CJ.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Of course, I'll be hanging out in the studio, producing it, and being there. And I'm sure I'll be on the show at some point Friday night. I'm usually on every show at least at some point, even if it's just to promote something going on or whatnot. So definitely be there Friday night. Make sure you guys tune in, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are there. Mike, I'll be talking. I'm sure I'll be messaging you after the show. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
No problem. Take care, CJ.
Yep. And I got to thank Shorty. She's back in the studio listening and hanging out. I want to thank her for calling back in and hanging out with us as well. Tomorrow night's still up in the air, but I will let you know that there is a good possibility, as I saw the email, a good possibility we're going to have two guests, and I can't. Tyler Young is one of them, and Jennifer Jo Cobb. Now, according to these emails that happened today, Jennifer Jo Cobb is confirmed, and hopeful to have Tyler confirmed by the end of the day. So the way it's looking right now, we are going to have Jennifer Jo Cobb and Tyler Young joining us, at least Jennifer Jo Cobb. That's somebody I've actually tried to reach out to before, and I don't know how Miss Lee, and I don't know, she's got, what is that, fairy dust that Tinkerbell has? Whatever it is. I don't know what she's working with, but she makes a lot more things happen today, and Miss Lee is messaging me right now. Maybe we will, maybe I'll get a confirmation on, I'm going to give her an opportunity before. While we're waiting for that, make sure you guys check us out on Twitter. You can follow me at DJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Also, make sure you guys check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation. Jennifer Jo Cobb is definitely confirmed for 9:30 tomorrow. Well, I'm not gonna put this out there because that will sound pretty bad. I'll tell the story to those that want to know on PM if you want to know the story. With me and Miss Lee had a conversation we had. It was entertaining. But make sure you guys check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. She said Tyler Young is probable for 10 o'clock, but we'll have Jennifer Jo Cobb joining us at 9:30. So make sure you guys check that out. So we got Shorty joining us at 9, Jennifer Jo Cobb joining us at 9:30, Tyler Young joining us at 10. More than likely, Shorty rejoining the show about 10:30 to help wrap up things. Is probably what we're looking at tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune into that. 9 o'clock Thursday night, Racing with Big Sweat. Friday night, 8 p.m., Hot Laps with Stats. Noon on Saturday, Happy Hour Garage. Sunday night, still up in the air what we're going to do. We don't know if we're going to have a new show in that slot this Sunday or if it's going to be something that we're going to wait for another Sunday or two. We'll keep you guys updated on that. The easiest way to keep updated on that is follow us on Facebook or like us on Facebook as we keep everything up over there. So make sure you guys do that. I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Got to thank all our guests. Got to thank all my assistants. It be Shorty, Mike, Izzo, and our guests, Sheldon Creed and Noah Gragson. Got to thank both of those for giving us their time. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Make sure you guys are here.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110 Nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
It's lunchtime, and with the McPick 2 for $5, it's choice time. Choose any 2 classics like the Big Mac, Filet-O-Fish, or 10-piece Chicken McNuggets for just $5.
Let me get a McPick 2.
Enjoy the choice. Price and participation may vary. Price of single item posted on menu board. Limited time offer.
Ryobi has changed the power tool game. With our power wherever you need it ONE+ battery that runs over 70 tools. Innovation that makes home improvement faster and easier than ever. You can drill it, drive it, cut it, sand it, trim it, nail it, do it yourself, all on the same battery. Ryobi ONE+, the next generation of power. Available only at the Home Depot. Now at Ryobi Days, our lithium-ion drill and impact driver kit is only $99, a $30 savings.